Congressman Mike Haridopolos. Hey, good to see you again, sir.
My pleasure.
Welcome to the State of the Union kind of preview show that we're doing here at the Heritage Foundation. I got to ask you first, who is your special guest today for the State of the Union?
One of them is Jared Isaacman, of course, the new head of NASA, who comes from the private sector and, of course, has flown into space himself. He actually flies jet fighters as well. He has done a remarkable job in a short period of time, taking over the job from Bill Nelson, as you know, was not exactly the greatest administrator at NASA. And so we're excited about being number one in space once again, and we're looking forward to the president's comments tonight.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's been one heck of a year for President Trump, one heck of a year for Congress and you guys, codifying as much as you can. I know it's kind of an uphill battle at times when you have a very slim majority. But what has been your, I kind of want to use this as like a year wrap-up show. What has been your greatest success or Donald Trump's greatest success in your mind?
Well, I would just go back to what was number one on the minds of voters in 2024. And it was without doubt the border security. We all saw the tens of thousands of people who are trying to come into the country illegally every day. Ultimately, approximately 10 million actually came through, and we do not know who a lot of these people are. But on day one, the president went to work. And of course, we no longer have a border crisis. Now we're just trying to round up those folks who not only came here illegally, but of course, broken the law once here. And so I think that would consider it our best success, that we didn't have to change a law. We simply enforced the current law, and we're making progress there. And so I think that's kind of the year one no-brainer. This is what we did, actually backing up our campaign promises. And then I'd love to get into some economic issues as well.
Yeah, no, listen, go for it, because I think this is a time to spike the football. Tonight is a celebration really of the successes of the year and then kind of setting up for the next year. I love the State of the Union address. I actually collect historic State of the Unions and messages to Congress. I have them all the way back to the early 1800s. So it's very fun for me, and it's great to be able to share it with you. Go for it, because I tell you what, the economic shift in this country has been incredibly significant over the past year.
It really has. And again, I'll do the Ronald Reagan question. Are you better off today than you were, in this case, 1 year ago? And you think about where we're at with interest rates. They are down. Inflation, which got as high as 9% under Joe Biden, it's under 2.5% now. Gas prices are down. And we talked about economy. We're also, I think, remember that it's growing dramatically, a lot higher than people expected. We're seeing foreign investment in record numbers because they know America is the place to do business once again. And it really has made a difference where we're putting money back into people's pockets. Remember, the Democrats had control in 21 and 22. They didn't cut taxes on Social Security or overtime and tips. And by the way, those aren't welfare programs. Those are dollars that people have earned, and we're allowing them to keep more money in their pocket because they earned it. And for too long, the answer in Washington had been, we know what's best. We fundamentally disagree. We think that the individual knows what their needs are. And I think that's why you're seeing it's morning in America again. This is the place to invest and save. And I think that people are excited again that America is once again the leading capitalist nation in the world, when for years we candidly stagnated because you thought under the Democrats' plan, they believed that government was the answer. And that's clearly the wrong answer.
Hey, I mean, we know that government's not the answer with the amount of jobs lost from the federal government. It seems like nothing's changed.
Exactly. I mean, look, the Americans, they want Washington out of their lives. The Democrats think that there should be more of Washington in their lives. We just, again, fundamentally disagree. And we want to invest in people again. The best way you do that is not by taking more tax dollars from them. It's by allowing them to keep their money in their pocket. And Social Security, which is a huge issue in my district, in my state, as you can imagine, it's a larger senior population. These folks work their entire life paying taxes into Social Security, and the Democrats never gave them a tax break. We did. Over 80% of the people on Social Security will actually get to keep their money. They don't have to pay taxes on Social Security anymore. And that's a good thing because they have other needs. And finally, you talk about, again, a common sense thing. We actually said we're not going to pay more for pharmaceuticals than the rest of the world. Why should we subsidize the rest of the world? After all, America's been doing that in a lot of ways since the end of World War II. And so when you talk about affordability, I can't wait to have a debate with the Democrats about affordability. It's our bread and butter issue. It's what Americans are realizing right now when they look at their 401k. Hey, it's a lot better when Republicans are in power because it means there's more business growth, and that means my retirement fund will also grow along the way.
Last question for you, because I know you're going to have a busy day today and a busy night tonight. However, my words are after five hours of doing a live stream, I'm all over the place. But you were president of the Senate in Florida. How is the State of the Union different than the State Address? I'd imagine you got to see a couple of those.
We did. And of course, I served with Jeb Bush and Rick Scott. When I was presiding officer, he was the governor, Rick Scott. And of course, he's now in the United States Senate because we accomplished things in Florida. We never raised taxes. And when I was Senate president, they actually had a budget shortfall of over $4 billion. But what do? We actually spent less. We went from a $75 billion budget down to a $71 billion budget. And we simply just did more with less. We gave a little bit more flexibility as the local governments of how they spent that money, which again is common sense. To bore you with a term called federalism, it actually works when you empower people to make difficult decisions. And that's the way that Florida always operated. We always take ceremony in it and an accomplishment, but this is a real good way to communicate back to the people who gave us the honor to serve. We want to report back in and say we are making progress. And think about it, border security, interest rates, the idea inflation is down, the idea that gas prices are down, the fact that we are number one in space again because we're reinvesting with private companies to make sure there's satellites for most commercial and military things get into play. And finally, look at the respect we have around the world once again after failures of Ukraine, Israel, let alone, of course, the debacle that's happened across the world with Afghanistan. And so we are once again a dominant power because we have asserted ourselves back on the world stage. And look at what we did to Iran, our 1979 enemy moving forward. We have put them in a situation where they're close to a civil war. And of course, even though the Biden administration put a $25 million bounty on Maduro, we actually accomplished the mission. Our amazing men and women in the military accomplished what no one thought was possible, extracting him with a magnificent raid onto enemy territory. And so as Americans, we are proud. And we had a great time this weekend, of course, as well as celebrating a great win for the first time since 1980 in Olympic hockey, that epic game with Canada winning in overtime. So it's been a heck of a week. And let's spike the football, as you put it best.
Congressman Mike Haridopolos, thanks for joining us tonight. Have fun tonight. I know you got to get right back to work tomorrow morning. Thanks for joining us today.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity. And thanks for what you do every day to promote freedom.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Joining me now is